for having me and inviting me to this session. As you said, it is a continuation of a discussion that we have had a couple of months ago in a very different setting, with people without wearing masks in rooms and coming together closely and discussing in a freer way. But I'm glad that in any case we are able to continue our discussion. And it brings me to a point that I think is, in addition to those that we will also discuss later, very, very prevalent. Because from my point of view, and from the obstacles that we face from the regulator and the legislator, at the moment, whereas the economy and the employers and the employees in their various roles and the social partners, for example, with our joint declaration on COVID-19 on the European level, have shown adaptability to the very, very different setting, it seems to be the case that in the area of employee involvement, co-determination, information, consultation rights, the surrounding that we have is not moving at the same pace. It is extremely difficult in a situation where the idea is that decisions can only be taken in meetings where people physically meet in the various consultation bodies, how this can take place in the setting that we have at the moment. Because it is extremely difficult to bring the people together at one place, at one time, on one agenda, where they are probably dispersed throughout, for example, in Germany, throughout different cities. And this becomes even more prevalent when it comes to a cross-country situation. From our own experience in the sectoral social dialogue, it shows that we were able to reach very specific, very concrete, and in my views, very balanced results with respect to the questions that lay before us, even though we were not able to meet physically. We could make our decisions in this way. We did not say we wait for someone to allow us to meet this way, to allow us to make the formalities in a digitalized environment. We just moved ahead because we had the feeling it is important to do so. And it is not the time to postpone or to leave on the side what we have to do, and where people look at us, do we have solutions for them? And I think what we really have to try to do at the moment is present this as a good example how things can work. And national legislators should take this up and not use as an excuse that there are restrictions in the rules, how you can come to an agreement, how you can make formally binding results from such meetings, be it within the group, for example, in works councils, or be it between the works councils and the employer, or as in our case, between employers and unions on the level. So I think we need a more rapid formal framework that we do not have at the moment, because of course, since we are always used to move freely, even when it came to issues like how can we go to prospective member states and talk about the European way of social dialogue. We did this without any legal framework around it, just because we as social partners had the feeling it was the right thing to do. And also with the COVID-19 declaration, we didn't wait for the Commission to tell us, well, now you might have another informal or digital way of coming to a joint agreement. We just did it and dispersed it around the world. And I think this is the attitude we need at the moment, and we do not need an attitude that tries to make everything more complicated as it already is for us. And for this, I think, when it comes also in the area of European Works Councils, but also in the area of national Works Council. It comes to the setting where real decisions have to be taken. The legislator has to support us in a much better way than it is done now, because the only thing we have at the moment, for example, in Germany, is a time-limited possibility to move in a digital environment in this setting. But nobody knows the developments in COVID, and one thing is clear: by the end of the year, this thing will not be solved. I personally do not think that this is a question of vaccine or not. It's a question of political decisions that will be taken and that have to be taken and that are totally independent of any health situation in the various countries. So I think having the situation we have now, and I'm perfectly aware that the seminar has started, of course, in a very, very different environment. I think when it comes to the point where we think of moving ahead and of concluding and of trying to give a guidance on how social partners see this whole topic, we should also try, if it's possible, to include these points that I think are tremendously important for the work of the European Works Councils or of Works Councils in any area and at any level, but even maybe for our colleagues on the national level. And having said this, coming from the more formal side, if we go to the merits and more to the substance, I think in this environment, also as it has been before, and as I've said in my last presentation, I think it will be crucial to see that there's a genuine room of maneuver for European Works Councils in the sense of complementing what is done at national level and not being on a path where it is unclear because of mixed competences of the European Works Councils and the national Works Councils, who is the competent body for certain specific issues of consultation. And this, I think, is an important point, and in order also to make it easier for the European Works Councils, for the national Works Councils, and for the employers, we should try to get a higher structural clearness of who is a competent body for what. And as I said the last time, I think it would be a detriment to how the European Works Council is perceived by not only employers but also by national works councils, if for us it is not possible to find clear dividing lines. So as the seminar has started, this I think will be a very, very important issue for all of us to keep in mind. And of course, this is also true for what has been said by Philippe Dorsmont regarding the analysis of the regulation on the European level we have at hand that deal with European Works Councils. I think to align them, to make them clear, to make them synchronized, is definitely something that would help everyone around the table. To try to bring, of course, in the start of, within the autonomy of the social partners, ideas forward how this can be achieved, or what can be crucial points where we have experiences that can improve. I think this is a very, very important thing. For both of us, unions and employers at the European level, it has always been important to underscore our autonomy when it comes to points that deal with the employment relationship or with involvement of workers, with involvement of employers, with consultation and information. And I think we should be very, very clear also in our outside communication that we regard this as a core issue of social partners to start from. And this is not only a point vis-à-vis Commission or European Parliament, who are of course welcome for input, but it is even more important with respect to the whole new area of standardization, who are not welcome in the field of social dialogue and who are not welcome in the field when it comes to the employment relationship, because it infringes very much on our own, in some member states, as in Germany, constitutional right of social partners to regulate these questions autonomously. And we as social partners should be very rigorous in keeping players out of our own competences where we have the feeling that they do not run on a comparable expertise that we have to offer in these questions, representing employees or representing employers, and not merely some organizations that have an interest in standardization because they want to sell something. So this also will be an area in the next month and years to come, in and around consultation information, where we have to make sure that we as social partners stay in the driving seat of the developments around us. And I think that this seminar is an extremely useful, not only area of discussion, but also platform on which we can build such an understanding, such a joint understanding in order to move ahead in this way. And in order not to take your time totally at this moment, because I think I will come back later, I will stop for now, also in order to give those watching and listening from outside the opportunity to say something. Thank you very much.